fuck that up. Alright. What's up, dudes? Welcome to my... Hello, everyone, and welcome to my first review of the month of October 2016. I'm pumped. Let's do this. Let's start. This is really bugging me. There we go. That's better. So, if you guys watched my Halloween, update video for this month, then you may already know what I'm going to be reviewing for you guys. For the first couple of reviews for the month, that made no sense. I'm going to be reviewing Don't Breathe for you guys today because I didn't get the chance to review it last month, so I'm just going to get this out of the way and tell you guys what I thought of this new film from director Fede Alvarez. And if you don't know who that is, he's the dude who directed the Evil Dead remake, which I haven't seen in quite a while, to be honest with you guys, but I was a big fan of it at the time, and I'm sure if I watched it again, today, I would like it just as much. But yeah, so I haven't seen it in a while, but from what I remember, it was a pretty good film, and this dude is a pretty good director. And yeah, so Don't Breathe, I'm sure all of you have heard of it by now, but if you're not familiar with this movie, then you've probably been living under a rock or something. The film follows three young burglars who like to break into people's houses, and there's this one specific house that they plan on breaking in to because they found out that, they probably have a lot of money in the house, and they want to get that money so they can, escape from wherever they are, and they want to, move out of the state, and they want to live off with all that money. So they plan on robbing this one dude's house who supposedly has a lot of money, and yeah, the man turns out to be blind. So they're robbing a blind man's house, and what comes about is a cat and mouse game between this badass blind man and these group of, burglars who don't know what the hell to do because this man is absolutely crazy. And that's all I'm going to say without spoiling much. But yeah, this movie, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. I really liked it. It's definitely, I would have to say, one of the better horror films to come out this year. However, I did not think this film was perfect. I did have a few problems with it. It's by no means a perfect film, but overall I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good movie, but yeah, so I guess I'll start with the stuff that I did like about this film. First off, this movie is very, very, very intense. Very intense. Like, it does a great job building up all this tension, and it just, I don't think there really is a dull moment in this film. That is, when they're in the house and they're doing like the whole cat and mouse game with the old man. Yeah, that whole like part of the film was fantastic, and that's pretty much like 95% of the movie. So yeah, this, like I said, there really isn't a dull moment in this film. It's all very, very intense, and they do a very good job at building the tension in this film. Another thing that I really liked was the cinematography. There was a lot of really, kind of neat shots in this movie. And I felt the same way with the Evil Dead remake as well. I noticed there was a lot of like really neat shots, and the cinematography was very well done in that movie as well. Especially for a horror film, because not a lot of horror films are that, beautiful to look at. They usually look very dull and nasty, but the cinematography was actually very well done in this movie, and it was also very, very well directed. Along with the Evil Dead remake, I thought that movie, love it or hate it, it's a well-directed movie, and this director definitely knows what he is doing. He does a very great job at creating the scenery and making it feel as if you are there, with these people. You feel like you're in the movie with them when all this shit is happening. And I'm sure many of you are also aware that there is a twist in this film, and I really did like the twist. I wouldn't really call it, like, a game-changing twist or anything. There's nothing about the twist that really, like, changed the movie, like, give you a whole, different perspective on it. Like, it doesn't really affect the story in any way. But the twist is pretty shocking. I shouldn't really call it a twist. I'm just gonna call it the third act because it basically, like, the big reveal is in the third act of the movie. But yeah, that whole third act is pretty shocking. It was pretty disturbing stuff. And, I was kind of laughing out loud in the theater. I don't know, maybe it's just because I'm a sick bastard, but I found it to be a little funny because it was very, very over the top, and it was a good time. I had a good time watching that. Yeah, there's a scene with the turkey baster. Not going to spoil it, but it's awesome. I absolutely loved every second of it, and I love the whole idea of it. And yeah, so turkey basters, man. But anyway, so yeah, I really did. There is a little problem that I had with the third act, though, and I'm talking about like maybe the last 10 minutes of the movie. Felt a little bit corny, like a little bit overly cliched. It kind of has the whole, I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but it's we've seen this ending before many, many times in horror films, and the ending, I'm talking like the last 10 minutes, doesn't really do anything new to the genre, and it's kind of the same old stuff that you've seen. But the rest of the movie does a good job at making it feel like a kind of like a different, home invasion movie. I don't know how to really describe it, again, without spoiling much for you guys, but yeah, it's overall, I really enjoyed the movie. I can go on and on and on about the stuff I liked. I overall really enjoyed it, but there are some stuff, like I said, that I did not like, and let me get into those real quick. First of all, I did not empathize with any of the characters in this movie. As a matter of fact, like the entire 2 acts of the film, I was on the blind man's side, to be honest with you guys. I know that's kind of weird to say, but I did not empathize with these 3 people. They're bad people, you know? I did not care for any one of them, you know? They're doing bad things. It's like, you know, oh no, we're screwed. We're being attacked by an old blind man. Well, yeah, maybe you shouldn't have broken into his fucking house. It's like you're the one who put yourself in this situation, so, you know, you gotta suffer the consequences, you know? It's, you know, you break into this guy's house, you know, what do you expect? And I think it's, overall, like, I really like the concept of this movie. That's one thing I forgot to mention was the concept. It has a very neat concept where you're kind of, at least for me, this is, you know, what I thought personally, where you're kind of rooting for the antagonist for, like, the first half of the movie because, you know, you don't empathize with any of these, you know, main lead characters in the movie. And, yeah, it was kind of an interesting twist to it. I don't know. Maybe I was the only way that felt that way, but yeah, I did not care for a single, you know, character in this movie that, you know, of the burglars. I did not care for them. I wanted to see them die in horrible, awful ways. And seeing this blind man, you know, mess some shit up, it was pretty fun. It was pretty fun. I really liked this blind man. He was a cool guy. That is for the first 2 acts. As for the 3rd act, my perspective of him kind of changed a little bit because of that, you know, shocking reveal. Yeah, after that, I was just kind of like, okay, now you're just as bad as them. Like, you need to die along with them. You need to die too. Before, you know, the first 2 acts, I was on the old man's side. I felt really bad for him for some reason. I don't know. But yeah, then the 3rd act happens and you get to see who he really is and you're like, oh, that's really messed up, dude. You shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff. Like, what the hell is wrong with you? You know, I don't like this side of you, old man. I liked you at first, but now you're just kind of like an asshole. Like, I don't want to root for you anymore. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, basically the last 10 minutes, like I said, I wasn't a huge fan of. And I also felt that the ending dragged a little bit with all these, you know, horror movie cliches going on. And yeah, you know, it was a bit underwhelming, the last 10 minutes of this movie. And there's also a point in the movie where it could have ended perfectly. Like, it could have been the perfect ending. And you think it ends, but then, like, a scene, you know, the next scene happens and you're like, what is this shit? I don't need to, you know any of this. Like, what the hell is going on? Like, if they ended it at that certain moment of the movie, it would be great. But no, they kind of had to keep going on. You know, they dragged it on a little too much, in my opinion. And yeah, there's a lot of really pointless stuff going on in that ending. But yeah, so, I mean, overall, like I said, I really enjoyed the movie. I really did. I think it's one of the better horror films we've gotten this year, and I would recommend it. I'm sure many of you, or maybe even all of you, have already seen this movie because it's out of theaters. But for those of you who maybe haven't seen it, yeah, I'd recommend watching it. I don't know how you can until it comes out on Blu-ray and DVD, but, you know, just gotta watch it sometime, somehow, I guess. But yes, overall, I would recommend Don't Breathe. I think it is a very suspenseful little film, and yeah, I overall really enjoyed it. And overall, I'm probably going to give the movie a 3.5 out of 5. It was pretty good. I liked it. And yeah, that's about all I have to say for it. You know, there's not really much else to say about it. It's just a pretty solid little horror flick. Another thing is I don't quite think, you know, it's as great as people are, you know, praising it to be. A lot of people seem to really, really love this movie. I think it's a good movie and I like it, but I don't think, you know, it's as great as some people make it out to be. So don't get your hopes up too high. It's not that great, you know, as some people are saying it is, in my opinion. But it's still a really good movie, and it's definitely worth a watch. So yeah, check it out. And that is it. Thank you guys so much for watching my very first review of the month. There's plenty more to come. I just need to get Rob Zombie's 31 out of the way, and then I will get on to, you know, reviewing the old classic horror films for you guys. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for my next, you know, horror movie review, which I already spoiled for you what it is, but stay tuned for that, and I'll see you guys later.